All right, like I promised yesterday, and I'm going to keep promising one to myself, and I'm going to describe the promise. I'm going to promise to you guys that I'm going to keep showing up because I think that I have a message that will resonate with you guys, and I just want to keep sharing it. That's the ultimate goal, is to be able to keep putting it out there so that you know where help and resources come from. So I titled this, Why Capable People Stay Stuck. And we're talking about standards, we're talking about skills, we're talking about capacity, and I just want to keep talking about it. Most people, when I really work with people, most people aren't stuck because they don't know what to do. They aren't even stuck because they aren't capable. That's not the problem. In my work with a lot of people, from people inside organizations to their bosses and leaders to owners of companies, I see something very specific going on right now. Capable people that are stuck for only two reasons. And we have to really sift around and just talk about and figure out what those two reasons are. So what I found is it's either they don't know how to do the work that needs to be done. That's a knowledge and skill issue, or they don't want to do the work that needs to be done, and that's a standards issue. Now, we can debate it, over and over and over again, but when I really get into it, most of the time, I'd say probably 90% of the time or more, it's more of a standards issue than it is a skills issue. It's more of a standards issue than it is a knowledge issue. Skills aren't the problem. If they are, we can fix it. But most of the time, it's a standards thing. And, standards and skills, they aren't really clear for people. Everything lives inside their head, and I think that's the problem. That's where people feel overwhelmed. That's where people start to feel scattered. That's when, people keep resetting, like, okay, here I go, I'm going to do this. No, really, I mean it. I'm going to do this. So for me, we have to really get into the heart of the issue. Now, I want to tell you something. I got a text this morning, was working on engaging with a person. I said, are we meeting, at 9 a.m.? No, I've got a meeting at 10. And the specific meeting was laid out, and he really said that he had a manager's meeting where he was going to open up a can of whoop ass on him. And this is a business owner that I know. I really, really like him. I really do believe in his leadership. I actually complimented him on his leadership in the text thread. But when he said he was going to open up a can of whoop ass on him, and he was having all sorts of issues with people laying an egg, he said, within the context of some objectives, initiatives, and production that they were trying to get to, I said, hold on, slow down. First thing I want you to do is I want you to take this assessment, and then we'll talk about it. He took the assessment that I have called the inner capacity assessment, and what he came away with is this aha and epiphany that, oh my gosh, like, I have some standards issues. I know the knowledge and skill of what they should be doing, but I have some standards issues, and so this thing's my fault. And I said, well, don't be so hard on yourself. You didn't know what you didn't know, but now that you know, what are you going to do? Now he's not opening up a can of whoop ass today on his managers. He's going to actually go and say, look, we're not hitting the mark that, I'd like, we're laying an egg, so to speak. So I'm going to challenge us to get better, and I'm going to use a tool that Rich gave me. And we're going to figure out why capable people on his team, are underperforming, they're stuck, and what's going on. What is the diagnostic below it? Because I think that's the thing, is we have to get into the diagnostics of where people are at. It's not just they're not performing, open up a can of whoop ass. So here's the distinction that I would say that changes everything, because he's going to do a great job today. He's going to go in and really be crystal clear on what the expectation is, how we are falling short, and he's going to start to diagnose what's going on more, in a technical aspect than just using his authority and brute force. what I would say, the distinction that I really look at is motivation helps people start doing something, right? Like I feel motivated. Yeah, I'm going to go do it. But capacity is what lets you sustain it. Like your standards and your capacity to do something, it can be talked about as discipline. It can be talked about as consistency, but there's a deeper sense of it. It talks about your energy. It talks about your clarity and your boundaries and your structure of how to go do it. And then it talks about the connection you have to people that are going to help you go do it, or you're going to help them go do it. And then it's going to talk, capacity is going to talk about your confidence and your belief in self and the follow through to actually execute and go do it. And if some of those diagnostics are off, that's where motivation is going to get you going. But your capacity to actually follow through is going to determine whether you can do it or not. And if you can't do it, unfortunately, what I find is people can't get the results that they're looking for. So I think motivation, honestly, you guys, I think motivation gets way too much credit, and it takes way too much blame too. I'll say that again. Motivation gets too much credit, but motivation takes too much blame. Because when capacity is low, right, motivation doesn't matter. When my capacity, my energy, when I'm stressed out, when I'm emotionally out of sorts, when I'm frustrated, motivation's not going to fix that. You have to work on the inside of yourself. And what I've seen is that there's a lot of people from an energy and recovery standpoint, burnt out, stressed out, ready to quit, don't want to do this anymore. And not mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually focused on the objectives that they have. It's a double-edged sword, but it's a double whammy what I'm seeing. But then I see people that maybe because they don't have clarity of how to do something, they don't have boundaries around it, didn't build the structure. Honestly, I'm going to tell you guys this. It's going to come down to a plan issue. If people don't have a plan, they don't have clarity of execution. And if they don't have clarity of execution, how can they get results? Results are going to be lucky. We don't want to rely on luck. I don't believe in luck. I believe in the lawful process of doing what I'm supposed to, and I have to be primed on the inside to be able to do it. So capacity is your energy. And if you have low energy, you'll get low output. You get low output, you'll get low production, low results. Capacity is your clarity. That really is the structure, the plan, the boundaries, the yeses, the nos of how to get the results you're looking for. Truly, your capacity is about support, both the support you receive, and all of us need help. I need help getting the results I want. I said that to a marketing partner earlier today, and I really did say, if I'm going to achieve the goals I want, you're going to have to help me. And if I'm going to achieve the goals I want, then I have others that are going to have to help me. I can't do this alone. And it started turning on light bulbs inside of him. And the last thing is your confidence. I see a lot of low confidence right now, or false confidence, but low confidence and the ability to follow through, the take the action, the execution part. I'm just seeing it be low right now. And when it's low, again, you can't live out your purpose. You can't pursue your goals. You can't achieve the potential that you have. So this inner capacity thing is something that I want people to start looking at. I want you to evaluate. We're live right now. I'm just sharing my thoughts. I want you to evaluate and comment in the comments when you watch this. Which one of those is broken down for you right now? Is it your energy? Is it your clarity? Is it your connection with people and support? Or is it your confidence? I think that's a big part of it, because when one of those breaks down, effort might increase, but results don't. You might try harder, but one of the things inside of you is broken down. Your effort might go up, but that's going to cause a strain and a toll on your energy, and results aren't going to go up just because effort does. We have to figure out how to get everything in alignment on the inside of us. That's why I think capable people get frustrated, with themselves mostly. They think they have a discipline problem, and they don't. They don't have a discipline problem. They have a capacity problem. And the frustration that I have that powers me, if you were going to say, I'm so grateful that I've discovered this. I learned about this, on a walk and a talk with God, in all honesty, this past fall where, I was struggling with some of the things that I had going on in my environment. And I turned this frustration into gratitude that, it was revealed to me. And I built the system to help leaders see this, because too often leaders, like that text conversation I had this morning, are really, really getting down on their people. What they don't realize, it's not a discipline issue, it's a capacity issue. And a leader's job is to find out what the capacity of a person is to do the work they're supposed to do, to execute, to perform, to get the results. And if they're off, a leader's job is to help people. I've got a couple, pretty sizable teams right now. They're assessing the capacity of everyone on their team because they want to know where the leaks are. They want to know where their challenges are. And what we're teaching them how to do is create custom and unique growth plans for people so that they can address it. See, if you don't address the capacity issues, here's the cost. You don't fail loudly. You stall quietly. You start to go inside. You start to negative self-talk. You start to stress out. You start to worry. You start to shut down. And if a leader doesn't know how to observe that in their team, that's part of the challenge and the problem. So like a leader's job is to observe, to think, to feel, to see, to propose, to correct action. But if a leader's too busy doing their own work and they don't see their people and their people have a capacity issue and they start to stall out and shut down, what you end up having is a lot of tension, a lot of frustration, and ultimately, I would say, a lot of poor performance. And that's what I keep seeing as I go out and coach all these businesses, all these people, is people questioning the performance challenges and the performance issues that they're having. But the problem is, until I start talking about this, most people never identify this. They just cope with it. Coping with a capacity issue, coping with low standards, coping with burying your head in the sand and hoping your boss doesn't see you, doesn't help organizations. It doesn't help performance. It doesn't help people. So I just would hope that people would really start to learn and get a sense that it's not a motivation issue. Motivation's only going to get you so far. It's not a discipline issue. It's an internal capacity. And believe it or not, you can actually grow your capacity, your energy, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, your clarity, your ability to have a plan and a pathway to the results that you're trying to get, the connection to help people and the confidence to follow through and believe in yourself to do it. You can actually grow each and every one of them. That's why I developed the inner capacity assessment. I'm blessed to be able to say I developed it. It's crazy to think that this hasn't been out there. It's not to label people. It's not to judge people. I keep reinforcing that because it's our job as leaders to be able to see people where they're at and give them the help that they need. That's what I see as a bigger breakdown in this. But again, not to label, not to judge, but to diagnose. Diagnostics. If I can get data on where somebody's at, and hundreds of these going on, these inner capacity assessments right now, it is absolutely amazing to be able to look at somebody and say, oh, I'm so sorry. This is where your capacity is low. These are where your standards are likely leaking. But this is what you can do about it. This is how to fix it. That's my goal, is to be able to get this into as many hands as possible. Because what I'm hoping it will do is, once we can see where the inner capacity is leaking, and energy and clarity and support and follow through and confidence, that kind of stuff, we can stop guessing what's the problem. I think too many people assume or guess what the problem is with another person in the workplace. And, that's a huge problem. The other thing is, even if it's a solopreneur, I work with a lot of, solopreneurs and service-based people, they can stop resetting. Raise your hand, get some help, and stop resetting. Okay, here I go. I'm going to do this. Here I go. I'm going to do this. It's like ready, aim, 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 and you never fire. You never shoot the shot. Wayne Gretzky said, something about the number of shots you take. You're not supposed to, keep aiming, but keep resetting because your capacity is low and you didn't have the follow through and confidence to go after it. So what ends up happening is people from there that they take the inner capacity assessment, they'll get an opportunity to see how to create the individual custom growth plan. And some people need help. It's past that. That's where I come in with my Leader's Edge program. I invite people into the program. It comes at a cost, either a monthly cost or a one-time fee. It's not overly priced or anything. But what it is it's not another course. It's not more information. It's a system. It's a system where we set clear standards. That's really what we do inside the system, is set clear standards, build missing skills. We do that on Fridays, and we install structure in these people's lives so that the structure is the standard. It is the expectation. And what we see is follow through start to really increase, and it stops depending on willpower, because willpower has shelf life. When we get exhausted and we get fatigued, we no longer have the will to do something. So I would say that, really the Leader's Edge is a system, and it's a coaching platform to be able to give people everything they need. Because I'll go back to the beginning of the conversation. I firmly believe that when I look at people, if they're not getting the results that they want, it's either because they don't know how to get them, that's a knowledge and skill issue, or they don't want to get them, which is a standards capacity internal issue. They can tell you all day long that they want to get results, but words, those are free right now. Those are out there. People can say anything they want. There's a lot of people pleasing going on. I used to be a huge people pleaser, and I'd be like, you want me to say this, I'll say it. But the action, the follow through, the execution, that's where the gold is. That's where the happiness is. I believe people want to be skinny, they want to be rich, and they want to be happy. And if they're not, I believe that they know how to get there. I believe that it's a standards inner capacity issue, and that's what we developed. I developed the inner capacity assessment for. So if this hits home, if you've spent time listening to this, here's your next step. I'm going to encourage you either to follow the comments in the section, and I'll post the inner capacity. You can also go to my link tree. My link tree has the inner capacity. It has 2 other assessments to it if you want to take them. They're free. The personal leadership, because that's a knowledge and skill issue. And then, if you got a business that you're trying to audit, I have a business audit tool that people can use, because I'd rather diagnose what the problem is. I think too many people, they're guessing at the problem. Guessing without assessing says that you could be wrong 99% of the time. So take the inner capacity assessment. That's my encouragement. It'll help you figure out if there's something that's just off or misaligned inside of you. I've done hundreds of these assessments, and I've only seen 3 people that have no deficits inside of them. 2 of them, I was absolutely certain that they would be the people. I look at these people and say, these people are dialed in when it comes to their inner capacity to do stuff. So I was excited that I could look at it and be right. The third one kind of surprised me, and that's okay. But 3 people out of hundreds that have no deficits inside of them, that means there's hundreds that have a deficit inside of them. If that feels like you, if things feel too heavy, if things feel too hard, if you can't get the results, I just suggest take the inner capacity assessment, because nothing's going to change if you don't. Nothing's going to change in the next 90 days if you don't start a new plan. If you don't figure out what it is, you're just going to keep resetting. So if you're ready to come closer to this fire I'm building, it's just a campfire that we sit around and we really build systems and standards and skills, because I want people to be successful ultimately. Then the Leader's Edge is open to you, but inner capacity, you don't have to join the Leader's Edge. Inner capacity assessment, I'd probably comment, send me it, and I'll send it to you in a DM, direct message, or I'd probably go find it on the link tree so that we can figure it out. So I would say, Jeff, that 99% of people have a deficit. only 3 people, good question, I am live, only 3 people out of hundreds didn't have a deficit. I would say that the 1% club, 1% of the population truly does know how to get results. The other 99%, they have some sort of knowledge and skill issue of they don't know how to get the results, or they have a standards issue and they don't want to get the results until they choose to make the improvements on the inside of them. So turn it upside down, Jeff. I appreciate the comment. 3% or 3 people out of hundreds actually scored where they should from a capacity standpoint, from a standard standpoint. The rest, way too low. And I'm seeing people that are way low. So with that, I spent enough time. I know that most people won't take this step. Most people are going to say, yeah. And they're just going to cope with it. This is my life. The question becomes a simple question for me. Do you want another reset? Do you want things to continue being difficult? Or do you want different results? Do you want to finally figure out that you're not broken, that there's just some capacity issues on the inside of you, and see how you can create the growth plan to help you overcome those capacity or standards issues? Yes, sir. I hear what you're saying, Jeff. You meant 97%, and I'm going 99% on it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I promise to keep doing more of these, telling more of the stories of what I keep seeing that are preventing people from being skinny, being rich, being happy. There's so much heaviness out there. There's so many people that are stressed out, overwhelmed, burnt out, quitting, whether it's physically quitting on themselves or quitting on the jobs that they're in. But restarting on a new job just says you're starting over. It doesn't mean you retired. So I wish you all well, and I'm glad that you tuned in, and I look forward to continuing to do these and just encouraging people to take the inner capacity assessment and try to figure this thing out. So take care, be well. Talk to you guys soon.